They utter thin, piping cries while in flight or while running along the sand, and they usually nest on the ground, in the open, in a scantily lined little hollow. They lay 4 spotted eggs, from which hatch active downy young. Many sandpipers nest in the Arctic even and subarctic regions and pass through the north temperate zone in great flocks on the way to their breeding sites. And I have one more item before we go to our saints, and that would be that little birdie we were, Vince Guaraldi was, and I was chiming in with. Woodstock! I have this fun summer tray with Snoopy riding his bike and Woodstock's just hanging on the back. And you know, being on a bicycle's like flying along. There's some other birds in the distance. But I thought that was so fun. And if you are a Woodstock Snoopy Peanuts fan, this is for you. It's a nice size. It's probably about 12 inches. And fun item to serve your guests their drinks on, or have, you know, your meal on in your lap, or whatever, however you like to use it. Oh, I have arrows as well. I tried to show them on a previous show, but I don't think you could see them very well. But here's some vintage arrows that are handmade. And aren't they cool? And I thought, wow, you know, if you were an archer and you use arrows, or for an Indian costume, wouldn't that be cool? That they, and they're in very good shape, I think. So if you're interested in those, please let me know. And let's move on to our saints. We have flying saints. There's 6 of them that I found that have levitated. They're so in ecstasy with the Lord that they just begin to rise up off the ground. I mean, they're, you know, half aware that it's happening and they don't want to be make a scene or whatever. So I read about Saint Teresa of Avila, the Spanish mystic saint. She's a doctor of the church as well. She would begin to levitate in the choir, and she would be next to the grill so that she could clasp on and bring herself down, or just at least hold on so that she's not floating up into the ceiling in ecstasy and love of the Lord. I want to share with you 6 saints that have been known to take flight when they were in prayer. So, Joseph of Cupertino, a Franciscan saint, is probably the most widely known for this levitation. He experienced great difficulties in school and was considered absent-minded, lacking in concentration, and not very bright. But he was attracted to holiness and prayer from an early age. And he ended up joining the Franciscans, and he would tend the livestock and draw closer and closer to God. And he began to train for the priesthood. This was especially difficult for him, misunderstood as lacking attentiveness or intellect, and he was actually experiencing union with God. He would even levitate while he was saying Mass, and or just looking at a devotional item such as a statue. He would begin to rise inches or feet off the ground. The Spanish ambassador was visiting Italy and had come to see Joseph in his cell at the monastery. Then so moved was he by his humility and sweetness that he asked if he would come and return back to meet his wife. Joseph was to meet the couple in the sanctuary, but upon gazing at the statue of Mary there, he ascended 10 feet into the air, floated toward the statue of Our Lady, and then floated back to his cell, much to the amazement of those present. Okay, Saint Teresa of Avila. She is known widely as one of the most prolific writers on mysticism. And the Lord instructed Teresa to write down all he taught her, and much of what we know about levitation comes from her work. She wrote her autobiography out of obedience at the behest of her superior. When Teresa first began to levitate, she instructed her nuns to yank her down promptly. She also attempted to weigh herself down with stones, but that did not prevent her ecstasies. She preferred not to speak of the matter, but described them as humiliation of these events and attempts to resist them in her life story. Through St. Teresa's explanation, we learn to think of this extraordinary phenomena as a sign of intimacy and union with God. A union so powerful that the human body cannot contain its effects. Okay, St. Alphonsus Liguori was another saint who levitated. As he began to pray, a ray of light illuminated the saint's face. His eyes were aflame with love for Mary, and he rose several feet above the pulpit. His ecstasy lasted for about 5 minutes, while the faithful were overcome by emotion, sobbed, exclaimed their love for Our Lady, and cried, "Miracle, miracle." Another saint is St. Francis of Assisi. He was known to levitate. Lost in prayer and united to God, St. Francis would sometimes hover above the ground, a few feet in the air. At other times he would float as high as the surrounding beech trees, and so high that Brother Leo could barely see him. Our 5th saint is St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the Church's most renowned philosophers and theologians. He had the unique and conflicting titles of, quote, dumb ox and angelic doctor. He was quite large man and quiet and reserved, so he got that nickname, the dumb ox. The angelic doctor is known for his purity, sublimity of thought, and profoundly virtuous life. His writings on the angels also form one of the most comprehensive explanations of these supernatural messengers of God. Theologian and philosopher lived for holiness and union with God. Witnesses testified to his levitating during meditation. A sacristan once saw him levitate in the sanctuary while conversing with the Lord. And our 6th saint is another woman, St. Mary of Jesus Crucified. She was just recently proclaimed a saint. Mariam Birdies was born in Galilee after her parents made a pilgrimage to Bethlehem and prayed at Christ's manger for the blessing of a daughter. This was in 2015. She was proclaimed a saint. She was adopted by a rich uncle after her brother, and she was orphaned as toddlers. As a young child, she recalled the Lord speaking to her, saying that if she wanted to give him her heart, he would stay with her forever. She lived only for union with Christ from that moment, but her uncle had different plans. He arranged a marriage for her at 12 years old. When she refused, he tried to persuade and threaten her, and treated her terribly and would not relent. Miriam approached a servant asking him to send a letter to her brother. The servant, who was a Muslim and wanted to convert her, slit her throat when she told him she was a daughter of the Catholic Church. He threw her into a dark alley on September 8th. She awoke in a grotto where a young woman dressed in blue sewed and bandaged her slit throat miraculously. The lady in blue nursed her and taught her for 4 weeks, then took her to a church and left her there. Miriam realized that then the young woman was Our Lady. She became a domestic servant and eventually a Carmelite nun. Her superiors recorded 8 accounts of her levitating in the courtyard of the monastery. Some members of her community spied on her, watching her for an explanation. None was found, except for the extraordinary humility, simplicity, and holiness of a young woman united fully with God. So that's all it is. They're just so united with the Lord and rising up into the heavens towards Him. Fantastic. Oh, and thank you, you saints that witness to such love, such humility. Please intercede for us that we too can become as holy as we can be, and if not literally fly in our hearts towards the Lord. Amen. Okay, I have a couple fun birthdays I want to move on to, and a special treat. Happy birthday to all our June babies. All right, I have for you 2 skaters. So skating is a lot like flying. And born on June 18th, 1966, is Kurt Browning, a Canadian figure skater, choreographer, and commentator. He is the first skater to land a ratified quadruple jump in competition. He is a 4-time world champion and Canadian national champion. The World Championships, he got the gold in Paris in 1989, men's singles. These are all for men's singles. He got the gold in 1990 in Halifax. He got the gold in 1991 in Munich. He got the silver in 1992 in Oakland, and he got the gold again in 1993 in Prague. He's done wonderful performances such as Singing in the Rain, On the Ice, a favorite of ours, that roller skating scene with Fred Astaire, right? Also, born in a Rocky Mountain house in Alberta and raised in Caroline, Alberta. Again, a 4-time Canadian figure skating champion and 4-time world champion. He represented Canada in 3 Winter Olympics, 1988, 1992, and 1994, and was given the privilege of carrying the Canadian flag during the opening ceremonies of the 1994 Games in Lillehammer, Norway. Browning's other achievements are numerous, including 3 Canadian professional championships, 3 world professional championships, a Lou Marsh Trophy for top Canadian athlete, a Lionel Conacher Award winner, an Order of Canada recipient, an American Skating World Professional Skater of the Year Award in 1998, and a Gustav Lucy Award from the Professional Skaters Association in 2001. He was included in the Canada's Sports Hall of Fame in 1994 and Canada's Figure Skating Hall of Fame in 2001. He's also appeared in the 2006 Fox television program Skating with Celebrities. And most recently, Kurt received the first ever Lifetime Achievement Award from the International Skating Union. His energy and talent are welcomed by his fans, and embraced by his fellow skaters. An absolute craftsman on the skates. His natural humor and rapport with the audience is always an obvious highlight of his performances. So please check him out. There's lots of fun videos out there on Kurt. And I have a female figure skater for you, Tara Lipinski. She was born June 10th, 1982. And a former competitive figure skater. She's also an actress. She's a sports commentator and a documentary film producer. A former competitor in the women's singles. She's the 1998 Olympic champion, the 1997 world champion, a two-time Champions Series final champion, and the 1997 U.S. national champion. She's the first woman to compete a triple loop combination, her signature jump element, in competition. And also, I want to read a little bit to you about her personal life. Lipinski expressed her Catholic faith with a devotion to Saint Therese of Lisieux since 1994, and credited Saint Therese for her Olympic win in 1998 and the recovery from her hip surgery in the year 2000. During the Olympics, she wore a medal of Saint Therese. She thanked Saint Therese at the Kiss and Cry after her short program in Nagano, and her coach held a small statue of Saint Therese during her free skate. She also wore a necklace with a good luck charm given to her by her uncle with the words, "Short but good." Lipinski would also place a statue of Saint Therese on the boards before every competition. A few months after the Nagano Olympics, she donated her medal and costume to an exhibit in 2001. Lipinski established a playroom in Saint Therese's honor in the children's ward in a Detroit hospital. She said that roses, a symbol of Saint Therese, had always appeared at her best and worst moments. So there you go, another intercession of a saint in her life. That I thought was fabulous. Saint Therese, the little flower, the little way. Powerful, powerful saint. All right. We have our birthdays and our birthday song. I'm going to name off our birthdays. And I made for you, I thought, what's feathery looking? So we have here some orange slices. I thought they looked so feathery, with and without pulp, and some coconut flakes. And we will light that candle after I read off to you our happy birthday, and then we will do our song. So for June, the first part of June, I don't have very many. So if your birthday is from the 1st to the 6th, please contact me. Email me at iamnancyshow@gmail.com. I want you to be on my birthday list. Happy birthday to you. So on the 7th, I have happy birthday Ellen, Sally, Robin, and Paul. On the 9th, I have Amy, and Ted, and Tom, and Peter. On the 10th, I have Reuben. On the 12th, I have David and Michael. On the 14th, happy birthday Kathleen. On the 15th, Mary and Maggie. On the 17th, I have Brian. And the 18th, I have Sally and Robin, rest in peace. On the 19th, I have Barb, Beth, and Tori. On the 21st, I have John. On the 22nd, I have Angelica and Jenny, Richard, and Pete, rest in peace. On the 23rd, I have another Richard. On the 24th, I have Patrick. The 26th, I have Susan and Jeff. On the 28th, I have happy birthday Linda, Kent, Gary, Rick, and Don. On the 29th, I have Jeanette, Nanette, Mary, Rich. On the 30th, I have Alana and Michael. So, happy birthday, all you June babies. And I have a fun little song for you I've been working on. And we are going to get that hooked up and then we'll light our candle.